What's going on, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys episode number 6 of the MMA cast. I am actually a little bit sick right now. I've been trying to record this episode, but I've been putting it off because I was so damn sick. I'm feeling a little bit better now, but I'll probably be coughing and probably sniffling during the recording of this. But it's already Friday, so I figured I would try to get it out as soon as possible. And I normally post these things on Mondays, so I'm pretty late. What we're going to be talking about today is the recap of International Fight Week, as well as UFC South Dakota, and of course Bellator. I don't know which number, but Saturday's Bellator. So we're going to work our way backwards, starting with UFC 200. So UFC 200, what a historic moment, right? Unfortunately, guys, I gotta be 100% honest, it was slightly disappointing for me. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family the day of UFC 200, so I was already in a pretty, downer of a mood. And then, of course, I didn't think that the event itself was that strong. Definitely disappointing. But still, I definitely enjoyed certain aspects of it, certain fights. I enjoyed the company that I had while watching it. It really kept my mind off things. So, starting on the card, we had Jim Miller taking on Takanori Gomi at lightweight. This was a really good fight. Jim Miller is, a crafty UFC vet, and Takanori Gomi isn't what he used to be. I believe I picked Jim Miller in this fight. Figured it would be exactly kind of what it was. I might not have said it, but that's really how I envisioned the fight going. I just pictured this, TKO sort of ground and pound. So Jim Miller gets it done. Good thing to always see Jim Miller getting a win. Fantastic, awesome UFC fighter. Then we have middleweight Gegard Mousasi taking on Thiago Santos. Gegard gets it done, TKO, pretty good fight. These are the Fight Pass prelims, of course. And then we move on to lightweights, Joe Lozon taking on Diego Sanchez. Now, this was one that I was really looking forward to. I thought it was going to be a fight of the night. I never would have pictured Joe Lozon. Even though Joe Lozon has deceptive power, I never expected him to knock out Diego Sanchez in the first round. I really didn't see it happening like that. Maybe knocking him down and submitting him or something like that, but I did not see it going this way at all. Joe Lozon looked fantastic. I mean, he's not going to be a ranked in the top 10 fighter anytime soon. But he's always going to put on fun fights, and I could see him going for another 3 or so years in the UFC and still put on exciting fights. So, always love seeing him. Diego Sanchez, man, he's definitely seen better days. It's kind of sad, he was 17-0, before he got his first loss to Josh Koscheck. Went on to fight for the lightweight title. And then ever since then, he's really just been all over the place. He was actually coming off of a win, which I actually found surprising. It's so weird with him. I always think that he's coming off losses like every fight, but he actually does win a few here and there. Lost to Gil Melendez, Miles Jury, beat Ross Pearson, lost to Ricardo Lamas, beat Jim Miller. So, I'm not really sure where Diego goes from here. I mean, he's 2 in his last 8, I believe. 2 in his last 6, rather. And I don't know, man. I really don't know what you do with him. I don't think you cut him because he's the last guy from the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 still fighting in the UFC. That definitely speaks volumes of Diego Sanchez. And you know what's even more crazy about Diego Sanchez? He's only 34. It's so nuts that he's only 34 years old. I don't see him retiring anytime soon, but I don't know what you really do with him. He's tried welterweight, he's tried lightweight, he's tried featherweight, he's went back to lightweight, he's went back to welterweight, he's went down the featherweight, up to lightweight. I mean, he's trying it all, but I don't really see what he can do. I really don't. I really do not see what he can get going here. I mean, there's obviously always going to be fun fights for him, but I don't really know who you match him up against next. I really don't. So, maybe BJ Penn. Maybe BJ Penn. That might be a pretty interesting fight. Rematch against BJ Penn. Let's do that. Joe Lozon. Not really sure who you give Joe Lozon. Maybe somebody just outside the top 15, you know. No matter who you match Joe Lozon up against, he's gonna deliver, you know. It's very rare where he isn't doing well. Maybe you give him somebody like Al Quinta, which Al Quinta is a ranked fighter, or somebody like Will Brooks. You know, if we're building Will Brooks up slow, give him somebody like Joe Lozon, sort of a gatekeeper. Maybe Beneil Dariush. Every fight that I just mentioned sounded exciting, didn't it? Dustin Poirier. I mean, that's getting a little crazy there, but you know. I mean, Joe Lozon is a badass dude, man. He's fun to watch. So maybe give him somebody ranked. Fuck it, right? After that, we had the start of the Fox Sports 1 card. It opened up with Sage Northcutt taking on Enrique Marin. I don't know, guys. This one was alright. Like, I keep expecting Sage Northcutt to be this superstar that the UFC wants him to be. And he's definitely not a bad fighter. He just puts himself in bad situations. I feel like he really needs some high-level trainers. Maybe like somebody like a Greg Jackson or something, Faraz Zahabi. Somebody who can just sort of mold him. I don't think he'd really fit in Serra-Longo much, but you know, anybody who can just really take this lump of clay and mold him into a mixed martial artist, because training with his dad does not seem to be very beneficial to his fight skill at a professional level. It might have worked early on, but it's time to move on. Because he's definitely got that it factor, and he can be he is talented, and he can. It seems like he does have the potential, but you know, it just seems like he's not being as explosive and well-rounded as we might like to see. But he gets it done, wins an unanimous decision. Fight was all right. Then we move on to bantamweight TJ Dillashaw taking on Rafael Assunção. That was 30-27 across the board for TJ Dillashaw. It really was. Like, I gave him all 3 rounds. He pretty much just won. He just won. There wasn't really much going on. He just outstruck, outmoved. He just won the fight. Wasn't a barn burner or anything like that, but it was a decent fight as well. Then you have catchweight 171 and a quarter pound Johnny Hendricks taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Gastelum gets it done 29-28, 30-27, and 30-27. It was all Gastelum. Hendricks looks like not like himself. He looks absolutely... there was heavy rumors that Johnny Hendricks was a active steroid user for a while, you know, going into his George St. Pierre fight. And once you saw it rolling around, it really does seem as if Johnny Hendricks has lost a lot of what made him good. And he's only 32 years old. I mean, it could be age catching up with him a little bit. Could be the wars with Robbie Lawler. But I'm not sure, guys. It just seems like Johnny Hendricks is not the fighter that he once was, and he looked bad against Wonderboy, and he didn't look good against Gastelum. So I mean, it might make sense for me to pick against Johnny Hendricks going forward, depending on who he's matched up against and potentially even lay down some bets on him against him, We'll see how it goes, but that fight was not anything super special either. Then we have women's bantamweight Juliana Pena taking on Kat Zingano. This one was 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28 across the board. Juliana Pena defeating Kat Zingano. This one was a tough one for me because I just felt like Kat just was a bit off. She normally finds a way to get up. She finds a way to make things happen. And in this fight, she was dominated in the second and third rounds. And it was a frustrating fight for me because I really, really like Kat Zingano. I really do. I like Juliana Pena as well, but I just like Kat Zingano more. I just feel like Pena has this thing about her where she just does dumb things a lot. Like she just loses position or, chases position and like gets rolled or just has this like weird awareness, like octagon awareness and IQ that it just seems like she does dumb things when she fights. Not so much in this fight, but in other fights that I've seen her fight in. So, not the biggest fan of her like fight style, but it does look like she's starting to tighten it up a bit. So, moving on here, guys. Oh man, I'm getting really stuffy. Sorry about that. To the main card, we have heavyweight Cain Velasquez taking on Travis Brown. I really did think Travis Brown was going to beat Cain Velasquez. I just thought that Velasquez was just going to start seeing his downslope, similar to like Johnny Hendricks, right? I just figured it was time that we probably started seeing his downslope. For one, I don't nearly rank Verdum as high as other people do. I never believed in him as a long reigning champion. So I thought one of two things happened when he beat Velasquez. One, I thought it was kind of fluky and maybe it had a lot to do with the altitude, which is kind of what Cain blamed it on. I know it's an excuse, but I just thought that had it not been for the altitude, Cain would have probably won that fight. And then two, Cain Velasquez is just on the downslope of his career, and Verdum isn't as good as people are making him out to be. I actually picked Stipe against Verdum and was correct on that. So I was kind of leaning towards the latter with Velasquez. I just thought it was, just the end for him. But I think Cain Velasquez probably will be champion again. How crazy is that? He really could be champion again. I think that would be his third time. I'm rooting for it. Let's do it, Cain. Travis Brown, I just thought, I don't know. He just got beasted on. That was probably the most exciting fight on the main card. Then we move on to featherweight Jose Aldo taking on Frankie Edgar. It was 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47. I scored it myself 48-47 for Jose Aldo. It was such a weird thing. I am a really big Frankie Edgar fan, so I guess I could be biased, but I usually remain like relatively unbiased when I'm watching fights. And I did not think Jose Aldo beasted on Frankie like other people did. Like I was reading comments and tweets and stuff, and it seemed like everybody thought that Jose Aldo just worked Frankie, and I really didn't see it that way. I mean, yeah, he hit Frankie with the harder shots and things like that, but I don't know. I thought Frankie was doing well. I honestly did. It was very painful to see that fight go down the way that it went down. I think Aldo just got into a rhythm of backing up and countering Edgar and, being very elusive in a weird way that was kind of annoying to me. That's not what I enjoy about watching fights is a guy just backing up and countering the whole time. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad strategy or that they shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I'm not going to love a fight like that. And, you know, I always got to be careful when I say things like that, because instantly people will be like, you just don't appreciate the true art of martial arts, man. Jose Aldo was wrecking Edgar, and he had a game plan, and he executed it brilliantly. And if you was really an MMA fan, you'd understand that and love that. And it's like, yeah. I heard it all before. I don't like Jose Aldo, for one. And you want to know why? The reason that I don't like Jose Aldo is because Jose Aldo was a goddamn UFC champion since 2011 on into 2015. Okay? 4 fucking years he was the UFC champion, and he did nothing but defend his belt. Like, he was not interesting, he didn't sell well, he didn't talk well, his fights were decently exciting. I mean, his ones with Chad Mendes were good. You know, his one with Edgar was good. Florian, but I mean, it's just he did not have a personality. He was a bad champion. He was a great champion in terms of skill. I liked watching him fight, I really did. But there's only so much that I will actually invest in a guy who's uninteresting, right? And that's why I don't love Mighty Mouse. It has nothing to do with his size. People always say that. The size doesn't help him, but it's just because he's not interesting. There's nothing interesting about him. If Conor McGregor was 125 pounds, he would still be exciting. It has nothing to do with how small he is. It's just personality. You can have a awesome champion, awesome fighter, awesome character, star at any weight class. It does not matter. Yeah, you got more things working against you the smaller you are, but in the grand scheme of things, if you're exciting and people want to see you, you have that it factor, then that's all, then they will. And that's what it comes down to. And Jose Aldo did not have it at all. And that's why I never liked him as a champion, and I normally always root against him. Like, I was so happy when Conor McGregor knocked him out. You know, obviously not to see somebody be hurt or anything. That's not what I mean. Just the fact that he's no longer goddamn champion. Now he's champion again, damn it. It sucks, too, because Edgar, I really wanted to see him win that belt, man. He was on such a roll. And you know what sucks? Every time, like, every one of his last couple fights, I've counted him out. I've, like, picked against him. All the way back to Charles Oliveira. And every time he's won, and then the one time that I actually pick him and I really believe in him, like, I think I even picked against him with BJ Penn. It's weird. He lost the one time that I pick him. It sucks. Damn it. And, you know, it's not because I am a fan of Frankie Edgar. It's just, like, I never want to put, I don't know what it is. Like, I always just think, like, I always think he's going to start slowing down, you know what I mean? Like, he's getting older and stuff. I just think that, I just kept thinking that he was eventually going to not continue the win streak all the way up until I thought, like, oh, he's going to do it, and then he didn't do it. It sucks, guys. Like, that was a really downer moment for me, like, because I love Frankie Edgar. He's probably in my top 3 favorite fighters. And it was a bitter pill to swallow. And then you have the next fight where the whole fucking time, by the way, 30-26 across the board for light heavyweight Daniel Cormier taking on Anderson Silva in a non-title fight. And the whole fight, I was just rooting for Anderson Silva to do something crazy. If there wasn't that suspense that every time Anderson Silva... Let me break it down like this. While Anderson Silva was took down to the ground, your initial reaction is like, damn it. And then the whole time you're just on edge, hoping and praying that somehow he can get up or the referee stands him up. And then when he's finally stood up, you were just on the edge of your seat waiting for something crazy to happen and just praying that Anderson does some crazy, like, backflip front kick or something, you know? That's how me and my friend were watching that fight. If it was not for those brief moments of suspense where you thought something crazy could happen, this fight would have been a complete waste. People say I've seen people complaining on Twitter about people complaining, saying that you should not be criticizing Daniel Cormier for his performance, and you should not be talking bad about him, doing the smart thing against Anderson Silva. My response to that type of stuff is always like, well, you got to understand that this is a sport, but it's also entertainment, right? And I'm not saying you should be the just bleed guy and just only care about knockouts and blood and crazy shit and not care about technique. But at the same time, if your product is boring, why can't it be criticized? Daniel Cormier put on a boring performance. That's all there was to it. It was not an exciting performance. Does not mean that he shouldn't have done it. Some people, the thing is, like, yeah, I'm not going to say that he should have done it. However, the reason people like Cowboy Cerrone, the reason people like guys like that, is one, because they're just awesome, but two, like, Cowboy Cerrone is not going to do something like that. He just wouldn't do it. Even if it's better for him to be able to win, Cowboy Cerrone is going to try to finish the fight. Daniel Cormier was barely trying to finish the fight. He was playing it safe. Granted, it makes sense to play it safe against Anderson Silva. He had a lot to lose, while Anderson had everything to gain. However, you're on UFC 200. If there's any time that you're ever going to come out of your shell and just take risks, I know that it's unnecessary, but if there's one moment where it's most important that you consider that option, it's at UFC 200. I think Daniel Cormier lost so many fans, or people who didn't even know him now, or especially not fans of him, that night, simply because, one, Anderson is this beloved figure of MMA, and two, Daniel Cormier is just, he's unlikable. I like him. I actually like Daniel Cormier. I think he's, like, fun as an analyst and stuff, and I actually do kind of like him. But my friend, and, most people that are sort of casuals, was, like, so pissed off at Daniel Cormier for the way that he fought, and it sucks because it was not a fun fight to watch. It was just, the only thing was that there was moments of suspense when you thought Anderson might be able to do something. It was really kind of just a boring fight, and I really hated the fact that Cormier was not trying to finish the fight on the ground. You might say that, he was, but he really wasn't going for it that hard. And if there's one thing that I don't like is people who are okay to just grind out a decision. Not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying as a entertainment, pay-per-view, it's just not what I like, and it puts a bad taste in my mouth. And I know that they have money and legacy and livelihood and everything on the line, but to me, it just doesn't matter that much when it comes down to my personal just enjoyments of something. I by no means was, like, mad about it, but it was just a frustrating fight to watch. And that's that. After that, we have heavyweight Brock Lesnar defeating Mark Hunt via unanimous decision, across the board, 29-27. Why is it 29-27? I'm actually not sure why it's 20. Shouldn't it be 30-27? Huh. That's, unless it was they gave Hunt one round and then they gave Brock a 10-8. Maybe that's what it is. This fight was really exciting. I think I picked Brock Lesnar, and I was, I thought that people were greatly underestimating his skill level still. It's been a while. Granted, it makes sense that you wouldn't know how he would look and things like that, but Brock Lesnar's always been a solid fighter, and Mark Hunt hasn't been a fantastic wrestler, so it makes sense. In hindsight, it makes sense. I really was hoping Lesnar got a finish here, but he didn't. Some interesting shit happened today, or yesterday where Lesnar actually failed one of his USADA tests from, I believe, a week or two out from the fight. He passed all of his other tests, I believe, except for that one. It's unknown what he actually failed for. I believe he actually said that John Jones was unprofessional for failing that test, so that's very interesting. I would be very curious to know what he failed for. Everybody's saying steroid, but you never know in a situation like this. Interesting that he failed. A lot of people have accused him of steroids for a long time. And it does suck. It's going to put a damper on things because it might make Brock never want to fight again, because I really got the sense that he wanted to fight again after the during the press conference, and I really got the sense that he was wanting to be champion again. Like, that's what I read from his body language and the way he was talking. So it does suck a little bit that he is probably not going to fight again. Like, if he's suspended for 2 years, he probably definitely won't fight again. Even if he's suspended a little bit, it might have put a bad taste in his mouth, and he might never come back. That kind of sucks a little bit. And on top of that, his, exciting win will be overturned to a no contest, which is a real downer. Overall, it's just not good that happened. It's really disappointing. I'm gonna be paying close attention to it to see what happens. It really does suck. Mark Hunt came out and said that, he wants half of Brock Lesnar's purse, which I believe was $2.5 million. I'm not sure exactly how that works or why or what they'll do. It's kind of a weird situation. But the fight was good. I definitely really enjoyed the fight. It was fantastic. You guys might say that, it's similar to the DC fight, but I don't know. I felt like Brock was really going for the finish. It was just exciting to see him perform. I got to be honest. And when Brock Lesnar first came about, was in the UFC and stuff, I did not like him that much. I was not a fan of him. I always rooted against him. I wanted Shane Carwin to beat him. I wanted Frank Mir to beat him. I didn't like him, but ever since he left, I've liked him, if that makes sense. I kind of missed him, the attention that he brought to the sport, and then I kind of appreciated what he did for the sport after he was gone. After that, we had the main event, which is such a weird thing, right? The main event of UFC 200, Amanda Nunes taking on Miesha Tate, women's bantamweight here. Fight ends at 3:16 of the very first round due to submission, rear naked choke. Amanda Nunes beats Miesha Tate. Was not expecting that at all. I did have a feeling that it was possible, because Amanda Nunes is such a quick starter. She really is. You look at her fight with Kat Zingano, and she had Kat in deep trouble, and eventually succumbed to Kat due to her sort of shoddy endurance. But I knew that Miesha Tate also takes a lot of damage early on and is somewhat of a slow starter. But man, I didn't really expect it to go down like that. I guess in the back of my mind, I knew that it was kind of possible. But I gotta be honest, guys, this was sort of a almost anticlimactic, or sort of it just put a weird stigma on the whole event. There was already things that I didn't like about the event, and I already wasn't happy with, pretty much the entire Fox card going to decision. Started off great in the prelims, and then the entire Fox card went to decision. Kat lost. Johnny didn't look like himself. TJ just sort of did his thing, and it wasn't really that competitive. And Sage Northcutt just was frustrating to watch. And then Kane comes out and does big things. And then, Frankie loses, and that really sucked for me. And then Daniel just sort of lays on Anderson for 3 rounds, and that really sucked to me. The Brock Lesnar fight was good, but it wasn't a finish. And then this happens, and it's just it was frustrating for me because I don't, where is the bantamweight division now? I guess Ronda easily reclaims her title in a fight that nobody really is looking forward to, other than the fact that it's the return of Ronda. If it's Ronda and Amanda in Madison Square Garden or whatever, it's just a fight that I much rather would have seen Ronda Tate or Ronda Home or Home Tate 2. Like that, it's like this is the absolute worst case scenario for the bantamweight division, the women's bantamweight division. I never liked Amanda Nunes either. Like, she's an exciting fighter, but when she just talks, she's just annoying to me. I don't know. It's not her Brazilian accent, because I love Claudia Gadelha. It's just she's something about her that is just slightly obnoxious to me. And by the way, it has nothing to do with her being gay or anything like that. I'm pretty sure there's gay fighters that I like. Liz Carmouche. I love Liz Carmouche. There you go. So it has nothing to do with that. It's something about her that I'm not really too into. Raquel Pennington, another one that I really like. So I'm not looking forward to her being champion. And hopefully she gets her first defense against Ronda or Holm, because I think both of those people can beat her. Yeah. So it just kind of put a damper on the whole night for me, because now I was frustrated that Tate had this big moment, and it would have been cool to see her headline 200 and win, and I don't know, guys. It wasn't the event that I thought it was going to be, and that bummed me out a little bit. But the performance of the night bonuses: Amanda Nunes, Cain Velasquez, Joe Lozon, and Gegard Mousasi. No fight of the night. And that tells you something. If there's not a fight of the night on the card, then there is a problem. But all four of those people honestly did deserve the fight night bonuses. It's actually all four of the finishes. No, actually, it's not. Jim Miller did not get a bonus, unfortunately. So yeah, that is it. That is it. I'm curious to see what the pay-per-view number will be. Man, I really, really, really would have loved to see the McGregor fight, McGregor-Diaz, be the main event. It would have been awesome. I think that maybe the whole card could have went different just based on that. It really does make you think of what could have been when you get this final product here. Jones as well. Jones missing out was kind of the same thing. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, let's move on to Joanne Calderwood. Not Joanne Calderwood. Joanna Jędrzejczyk taking on Claudia Gadelha on the Ultimate Fighter 23 final. We had welterweight Li Jingalang taking on Anton Zafir. Lee gets done KO punches round 1. Then we have lightweight Kevin Lee taking on Jake Matthews. That was a fight that I was actually pretty surprised about, considering I did not expect Kevin Lee to beat Jake Matthews. In fact, I definitely picked Jake Matthews in that fight. That was pretty interesting to see. Then we move to the Fox Sports 1 card. We have middleweight Cesar Fiera taking on Anthony Smith. Don't remember who I picked, but Cesar gets it done unanimously, 29-28 across the board. Then we have Josh Stansberry taking on Corey Hendricks. I believe that I should have picked Stansberry because in my head, that's who I kind of wanted to, or thought that's who would win. There was one 28-28 round in there. I don't really remember that fight. I think I was actually cooking during that fight. Same thing goes for the next one. Mathis Nikolai taking on John Moraga. I'm pretty sure I picked Moraga in that fight simply because he was a name. But I heard a podcast afterwards talking about how John Moraga is highly overrated. And then I started looking at his record, and he actually is. He beat Willie Gates and Justin Scoggins and Dustin Ortiz. Those are kind of alright guys. Scoggins is an up and comer, and Willie Gates is sort of I don't think he's super good. I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess he kind of is severely overrated. Now that I think about it, actually makes sense. After that, we have Gray Maynard taking on Fernando Bruno. I did not expect this to happen. Gray Maynard making his featherweight debut, and he gets it done. 30-27 across the board, unanimous decision. This was a great performance by Gray Maynard. He did get tagged up a little bit, but at the same time, that was very helpful in letting us know that, okay, Gray Maynard's chin is not completely glass. Like, he can take a few shots. Granted, he does look pretty dead when he first takes them, but I was surprised. I honestly was. I don't know who Fernando Bruno is, but I did not. I expected Gray Maynard to be done. So Gray Maynard getting a win. I mean, props to Gray Maynard. I definitely did not expect for him to get it done. So that was nice to see. I've always liked Gray Maynard. After that, we have lightweight Jacome Silva taking on Andrew Hollowbrook. I believe this was the fight that I was wondering why it was on the main card. And I think I found out afterwards, but I just was not sure. I now can't even remember the fight, you know. Oh, I believe because it was two undefeated fighters or something along those lines. Or, you know, an undefeated fighter and somebody who had a good record. Nope, they were both undefeated. That makes sense. That's what it was. Silva gets it done. KO punches. Round one. I can't really remember that fight, guys. It's been like a week now. So after that, we have Du Ho Choi taking on Tiago Tavares. Choi looked awesome, guys. Definitely looked good. He gets it done. Round one. KO punches. Definitely going to be paying attention to Du Ho Choi. I believe he's Korean. Am I right on that? I believe so. Yeah, from South Korea. Definitely, he's 25 years old. It's gonna be awesome to see where he goes from here. He definitely can, you know, he could be one of the, I guess, first Korean stars in forever for you know, Asian stars in the UFC. So let's see what happens to him. After that, we have Will Brooks taking on Ross Pearson. Brooks gets it done 29-28 across the board. Very close, you know, closer fight than some might expect, you know. Awesome stuff from Will Brooks. Ross Pearson brought it. Good fight. I mean, nothing super amazing. We'll see where Will Brooks goes from here. After that, we have women's strawweight. Tatiana Suarez taking on Amanda Cooper. This is the TUF women's strawweight final. And you have Tatiana Suarez defeating Amanda Cooper via submission, round one, Darce choke. I picked Tatiana. She looked good. She honestly did. I'm pretty happy with her. She's now 4-0. I think she could definitely make some noise in the UFC. So could be a good winner there. And then we have Andrew Sanchez taking on Khalil Roundtree. Thought Sanchez was going to win. He did. Not an exciting fight at all. But then we get to the main event, and it is an awesome fight between Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha. 48-46, 48-45, and 48-46. 3 rounds to 2, I believe, for Joanna Jędrzejczyk. This was a fantastic fight, right? This was such a good fight. Oh man, I love this fight. They gave Joanna, a couple of refs gave Joanna 10-8s in all three of them actually gave her 10-8s in one round at least. And the first judge gave her a 10-8 in round 4 and 5. So that's why the score was so different. Yeah, guys, this was such a good fight. It was awesome. You had Joanna come out and come off to a slow start. Gadelha was putting in work, getting a lot of takedowns. It looked like she was going to run away with this fight. They both looked tired to me, but I guess I was like just, Joanna was like being deceptively tired because she honestly wasn't tired at all. I don't know why I was reading into that. I honestly did not. I kind of thought Gadelha was actually going to win after round 2. I was like, yep, she's winning. And then Joanna starts pouring it on. She wins round 3, and then wins round 4 and 5. By 5, Claudia was so tired. She's just getting tagged up with the jab over and over again. But man, this was such an exciting fight, guys. It was momentum swings back and forth. Claudia is such a good fighter, and honestly, I know that she is probably regretting whatever type of strength and conditioning that she did in preparation for this fight, because had she been a lot more in shape, guys, she probably could be champion right now. But overall, it was a fantastic fight. Absolutely loved it. Just great stuff. All right, now we move on to the July 7th show, which was Dos Anjos taking on Alvarez. This was on Fight Pass, I believe. So let's go down the card. We have Vincent Luque taking on Alvaro Hera. Submission Darce choke, round 2. Then we had bantamweights Marco Beltran taking on Reginaldo Vieira. Submission rear naked choke, round 2. Then we had lightweight Gilbert Burns taking on Lukaszes Sajewski. Submission armbar, round 1. Then we had Felipe Arenatas taking on Jared Saunders. Submission armbar, round 2. Then we had Pedro Munoz taking on Russell Doan. Submission guillotine choke, round 1. Then we had bantamweight Anthony Burchek taking on Delino Lopez. Decision split 27-30, 29-28, and 29-28. Then we had lightweight John McDessie taking on Mahad Baghdad. Split decision there, 29-28. 29-28 and 28-29. Then we had Alberto Mina taking on Mike Powell. This is the first fight that I remember on this card. I remember enjoying all of them thoroughly up until now, I believe. I just can't remember who was who because I don't really know these names. But, man, that I was rooting for Mike Powell, but I had a feeling that he was probably going to get knocked out because Mike Powell's like 40 years old or something, and his chin is not what it used to be. He gets scary knockdown. That was a beautiful flying knee KO. Great stuff there. Then we move on to the main card. Joseph Duffy taking on Mitch Clark. Submission, rear naked choke, round 1. Awesome stuff from Joseph Duffy. I love that guy, and he got shit done. Then we move to welterweights Alan Jouban taking on Belal Muhammad. This was a fantastic fight, back and forth. Alan Jouban got tagged up. He's a model. It didn't look like he gave a shit at all. His face was all busted up. Great fight. Fight of night, actually. Fantastic stuff from Alan Jouban. Glad to see him get a win, and definitely fight of night. After that, we have heavyweight Derek Lewis taking on Roy Nelson, 29-28, 29-28. And 28-29 for Derek Lewis. I did score it for Derek Lewis. I seen some people was giving it Roy Nelson, but I think I picked Derek Lewis, actually. So I think I was 4-0 on the main card, actually, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, Derek Lewis got it done. Not the most exciting fight in the world, but I fucking love Derek Lewis. I really do. I mean, the Black Beast is awesome, guys. So after that, we have lightweight Eddie Alvarez taking on Rafael dos Anjos for the title. I picked Alvarez, and Alvarez gets it done. Awesome stuff from Eddie Alvarez. Fantastic. He rocked dos Anjos after, I believe dos Anjos hit him with a head kick, and Alvarez rocked dos Anjos. Dos Anjos did the chicken dance and was falling all over the cage, and Eddie did not let up, just poured it on. Thank God the Dos Anjos era is over. Jesus Christ. I was just not digging that guy at all. I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. He's alright. He's exciting. I think I have a thing against Brazilians, honestly. That's probably what it is. Not a big fan of Brazilian champions, I guess. No, that can't be it. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I did talk shit on Verdum, I talked shit on Amanda Nunes, and Jose Aldo, all in this episode, now Rafael dos Anjos. But I did like Anderson, but not when he was champion, just like afterwards. No, I've always appreciated Anderson's fights. Yeah, Junior Dos Santos, that's a Brazilian I liked, absolutely. So, Alvarez, great fight, great performance. I was happy to see Eddie Alvarez get the win, and I'm glad that he's champion. I'm looking forward to what he does next. I would love to see a fight between him and Conor McGregor, him and Nate Diaz. Tony Ferguson, who we'll talk about in a second. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Great stuff. Glad to see Eddie get it done. So, with that said, guys, we will take a look at Fight Night McDonald versus Lineker really quickly, and then we'll get into Bellator, and then we'll get out of here for this week. We're already deeply into this. Alex Nicholson taking on Devin Clark. KO punches round 1. I actually missed the fights on this one, guys. Then we have bantamweight Ronnie Yaya taking on Matthew Lopez. Yaya gets it done, gets a win, and gets it done submission, triangle choke, 3rd round. Move on to the preliminary card. Scott Holtzman taking on Cody Pister. Decision 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. Scott Holtzman gets it done. Not the best fight in the world. Alright, though. Then we have women's strawweight Courtney Casey taking on Kristana Stanchoi. This was actually a really good fight. Round 1, TKO elbows. 2 minutes and 36 seconds of the very first round. Courtney Casey, let me just look up her record real quick, because I honestly think that she was really underrated. So, yeah, she comes into the UFC, loses to JoJo. Understandable. That's a tough opponent your first time out. Then she loses to So Hee Ham, which I was actually really surprised that she lost to So Hee Ham. And you know what, guys? I was so impressed with Courtney Casey. She had this just look of determination, and she was moving in and out real well. She was moving laterally real well. She just seemed 100% on point, and I was like, this chick's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I don't know what Courtney Casey did all of a sudden, but she's definitely better than I think people gave her credit, and she looked good to me. I don't know, guys. I don't know about what you guys think, but I thought she looked great. Then we move on to Smiling Sam Alvey taking on Eric Spicely. I believe Eric Spicely fought on this season in Ultimate Fighter. Sam Alvey gets it done. Submission, guillotine choke. Awesome stuff from Sam. His post-fight speech was awesome. He just was like full pro wrestler. I've always liked Sam Alvey. He has a ton of fights. Really disappointed in his last fight that was against Elias Theodoro just 1 month ago. Hopefully, he keeps it going here. He fought, first time was in 2016 was last June, and he's already fought twice. Wanted to get rid of that crappy loss right away, and he gets it done against Eric Spicely. Good stuff, Sam Alvey. Always exciting to watch. Always exciting when he wins, and always exciting in his post-fight speech. After that, we have Caitlin Kukagina. Can't remember her. Oh yeah, okay. She took on Lauren Murphy. Women's bantamweight, unanimous 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28 across the board. I don't know, guys. Lauren Murphy is just, I don't know. I guess she's not as good as we thought, I guess. So she lost. Let's move on. Flyweight Louis Smolka taking on Ben 10. Really expected Ben 10 to win this one, and he just, I don't know if it was like what was up with his game plan, but he just did not look very great, and Louis Smolka gets it done. TKO, punches and elbows, round 2. After that, we have Katia Nakamura taking on Kyle Noak, submission, rear naked choke. Good fight. Little rough to see Kyle Noak lose at just 1 second left in the second round. Then we have Daniel Almalenchik taking on Alessio Olenek. I was expecting this to be a knockout, but it wasn't. I think that I was going to go with Alessio Olenek on this one because he was on like a major win streak, but yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. He could have been like a player in the heavyweight, but not now, I guess. So yeah, not the greatest heavyweight fight in the world, but after that we have Tim Boetsch taking on Josh Salmon. TKO punches. Did not expect that. I'll tell you that much. I thought Tim Boetsch was done, shot, gone. But he wasn't. He got it done. Great fight there. After that we have lightweight Tony Ferguson taking on Lando Venata. And I will tell you one thing, guys. This fight was awesome. Obviously fight of the night. Super entertaining fight. I mean, this Lando dude, I gotta give him props, man. I did not expect him to come out and be as good as he was. He took the fight, I think, on 2 weeks' notice. He was 8-0. He might have been the RFA champion, but I'm not sure. Dude, guys, this guy came out like he didn't have anything to lose. He went balls to the wall. He made it his goal to just fight like he was, just trying to impress, and he did, man. He was game as hell. Rocked Ferguson a couple times, almost got the deal done, which would have catapulted him all the way into the rankings of the UFC in his first fight. I'm looking forward to the shit that he does next. With a full camp, he might be able to do big things, guys. Really, really high stock in Lando. And after that, Tony Ferguson gets it done after being rocked a few times. In round 2, sinks in that Darce choke. And Tony Ferguson, that's a couple Darces he has now, isn't it? Let's see. Going back to his first Darce choke, which was Mike Rio at UFC 166 in 2013. His last win was a Darce choke against Edson Barbosa, and this one was a Darce choke as well. So that is 3 Darce chokes, man. You gotta watch out for this guy's Darce choke. Really, really cool stuff. I hope that Tony Ferguson continues to do big things. I say give him a title shot. F it, man. Really, I'm for real on that, man. He's an exciting guy. I like watching him fight. Khabib is arguably the next title shot guy, but I don't know. Tony Ferguson is just fun to watch, and he's on a beast of a win streak in the lightweight division. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fucking wins. 8 wins in the lightweight division. That is sick. 8 in a row. Khabib got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row, so only one less than Ferguson. Man, we're gonna have to see. I don't know, guys. Whoever's ready, I guess. And then finally, guys, we have John Lineker taking on Michael McDonald. Great fight, just awesome. Lineker just was beating McDonald to the punch, dropping the heavier leather, and McDonald eventually succumbed to the power of John Lineker. Great fight. Weird main event. Didn't expect that for a main event. I think it's almost probably time to give Lineker his title shot. I mean, he's looked pretty damn good as of late. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's on a 5-fight win streak. 3 at bantamweight, I believe. So we'll see what's up. I say give him a title shot. Well, I guess not in bantamweight because you got Dillashaw ahead of him. So give Dillashaw a title shot. Maybe Lineker fights one more time against another ranked guy. And with that said, guys, that's it for those fights. Let's move on to the Bellator portion of the card. To the Bellator portion of the show. Not going to talk much about these fights, guys, because I don't really know many of these guys. Preliminary card, not mentioning anything on there because I don't know anybody. First fight, James Gallagher taking on Mike Cutting. Don't know him. Light heavyweight, Lucas Klinger taking on Francis Carmont. I do know Francie Carr, so we'll go with Francis on that one. Then we have Michael Venom Page taking on Evangelistia Santos. I think Santos is coming off a loss, so I got to go with Michael Venom Page. He has, I think 5 fights in Bellator, and he still didn't get a title shot. They're really slowly building him up, but they better be careful because he might pick up a loss sooner or later. Sometimes it backfires to build somebody a little too slow. He looks good, man. I mean, he's an exciting fighter. He's flashy, kind of cocky, arrogant. I like people like that. I like watching fighters like that, so I'm always going to tune into Michael Venom Page when he's on the Bellator. After that, we have heavyweight Matt Mitrione taking on Ollie Thompson. This is Just a couple weeks after Mitrione suffered that KO, I mean, actually he won the fight, but he clearly was like KO'd or at least concussed. So, very, very crazy that they're bringing Mitrione back just like 3 weeks later from Bellator Dynamite 2. I gotta say, guys, I'm gonna go with Ollie Thompson on this one simply because, one, Mitrione did get clipped in his last fight against a guy who I didn't know or probably didn't have a Wikipedia page and almost died, you know, in terms of a knockout. And two, he's probably pretty chinny considering he's just been, like, concussed. So, I mean, is there any reason to actually pick Mitrione? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to lose this fight. So, excuse me, god damn. I'm going to go with Ollie Thompson on that one. My nose is super stuffed, guys. I'm so sorry. After that, we have welterweight Paul Daly taking on Douglas Lima. Is this not for the title? Who has the title in Bellator welterweight? I'm actually not even sure. I don't know, but I guess I gotta go with. Actually, that's a pretty close fight. I don't know who will win that one. Let's go with Lima. Fuck it, we're gonna go with Lima. All right, guys. So that wraps it up. London O2 Arena. See you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Peace.